Early this morning, aid trucks heading into the Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt. Israel lifting its threat issued yesterday to keep the crossing closed, restrict fuel and halve the total number of trucks allowed into Gaza to 300. The reason, after returning the remains of only 4 of the 28 dead hostages on Monday, Hamas releasing 4 more bodies late last night. They were brought to Israel's National Forensics Center in Tel Aviv.
This is a very, very sad day for us. We don't know who they are, but they are a part of us, a part of our people.
The Israeli military now saying one of the 4 bodies has been assessed to be that of a Palestinian from Gaza. The other 3 named as 20-year-old Tamir Nimrodi, 35-year-old Uriel Baruch and Eitan Levi, who was 53. In Gaza this morning, Palestinians were awaiting the return of more bodies that had been withheld by Israel. The remains of 45 people handed over, again via the Red Cross, still awaiting formal identification and burial. Razmir Khalil says she ran to see if her son Fadi was among the bodies. She's already buried 5 other children during the course of the war. Inside Gaza, aid and supplies continue to ramp up. The World Food Programme says 10 of 30 industrial bakeries are operating, more perishable goods are getting in, young children being reached, but none of it yet at the required scale. Relief at the end of the bombing giving way to the enormity of what it's left behind.
We went back to our homes in the Al Tufa neighborhood and found there were no homes at all. There is no shelter, nothing. We wake up in the morning and look for a sip of water to drink. If we want to eat, there's no money and no work to do. This isn't a life.
The plan is that alongside aid, Gaza's reconstruction itself will start to reanimate its economy. But if regional powers are beginning to contribute to this, they've been less forthcoming on the proposed international stabilization force mentioned in President Trump's 20-point plan. For now, Hamas has filled the vacuum. Far from disarming, it's been demanding rival groups lay down their weapons, engaging in gun battles and summary executions. Last night, President Trump sanguine about the situation.
They did take them out, and they killed a number of gang members. And that didn't bother me much, to be honest with you. That's okay. We have told them we want to disarm, and they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently.
The specifics, given that it didn't happen during 2 years of Israeli bombing, left unsaid. In Israel today, the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was back in court on his long-running corruption trial. His office, meanwhile, releasing images from his meetings last night with newly returned hostages. The Prime Minister, who'll be seeking re-election within months, has been heavily criticised by hostage families for failing to strike a ceasefire deal far earlier. And that ceasefire continues to be strained. The Israeli media reporting an airstrike today in Gaza City against Palestinians described as entering a prohibited area, an area where people were killed yesterday, their families said, trying to check on their homes. Well, joining us now from Washington, D.C. is Hani Almadhoun. He co-founded the Gaza Soup Kitchen, a grassroots organization founded in 2024 to provide food to Palestinians at risk of famine. Mr. Almadhoun, I mean, we've seen the sort of euphoria, the relief of the end of the bombing. We've seen people celebrating prices coming down and markets being replenished, but there are still a lot of people inside Gaza, aren't there, who are really struggling to feed themselves?
Absolutely correct. There's many families that are in hard to reach areas. There are no systems or infrastructure to get aid. Roads are broken. Not enough aid trucks is getting in. Some commercial stuff is getting in, which helps keep the prices lower. We see this, but unfortunately, transportation continues to be a challenge. And hopefully in the next few days things will get better. But we need a lot more support. We need more of the UN agencies to be able to deliver, namely the organization UNRWA is needed to deliver aid at scale.
I mean, we've been hearing from the World Food Programme, for instance, saying that 10 of its 30 bakeries are open, that more children under 5 are being reached. But as you say, much still needs to be scaled up. I mean, if you look back to what happened in the first or the most recent ceasefire at the beginning of this year, how quickly do you see things coming back online?
Slowly but surely, there is a lot of excitement in the air, but also anticipation and uneasiness because we've been down this road before where we feel everything is good. We have some flour, we have some fruits, but then, oops, we're back to track. Today, there was supposed to be the opening of the Rafah crossing. A few hours ago, the Israeli army were saying no. Now they're saying maybe it will open. So there is a lot of confusion, but I hope that there's a lot more aid is being allowed. And I know that half of what was promised was delivered to Gaza. Half is better than nothing. But again, remember, folks in Gaza lost everything and they need everything. That's why we need a lot more. It's not just food, medicine. As of yesterday, 70% of the medications needed in Gaza were missing, and medicine was very expensive. We're not even touching the construction, steel, and cement request. But right now, I know the municipalities within Gaza, the Gaza Strip, are working hard to pave the roads, so this way people can move. Some people actually are in Gaza, in the south of Gaza, and they just go check out. They see their homes in ashes and come back and remain where they are. And for the time being, a lot of Palestinians are waiting for temporary shelter. Those were also promised. They have not made it to Gaza yet.
And alongside all of those necessities is the necessity of security. I mean, we've seen more reports today of Israeli actions of bombings in eastern Gaza City against people they say are breaching the no-go zone. We've also seen all these reports of Hamas reprisals, executions. What are your colleagues on the ground telling you about the security situation at the moment?
So at the Gaza Soup Kitchen, my team tells me that there are some armed forces that are unmarked that driving around, maybe picking up people. They don't know who they belong to. Some of these armed gangs may have been groomed by Israel. Some of those groups might belong to a group within Gaza. There is a lot of confusion and uncertainty, but there's also people who are looking at this and they say, let's see what's going to happen. I think they're seeing some weird dynamics happening in Gaza between people who collaborated with the Israeli, people who've gouged people who stole aid. Now they are being targeted within Gaza, and there is certainly a division in Gaza whether this is the right course of action. I continue to be alarmed by those footage that you mentioned, but also that I know Israel remains occupying at least 53% of the Gaza Strip. So, we want a lot more actors to be allowed into Gaza. I was reading that more states are ready to help Gaza. But, Harry, I look at it and say like, hey, we needed you to bring food and baby formula in June and July, and you weren't showing up. But all of a sudden, everybody's ready to help demilitarize Gaza. And I hope we get to that point and we bring more relief. I know my parents are in the front line. The teams that we work with at the Gaza Soup Kitchen are trying not only serve hot meals, but also give folks food parcels because those have a larger shelf life. But I know that UNRWA is ready with 6,000 trucks, the equivalent of 6,000 trucks, just waiting outside of Gaza, waiting to be allowed in. Nobody can do this at scale better than UNRWA and at a very good cost. So this is what we're hoping for because we want to go back to dignity. Definitely, we've seen the horrors from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and the more than 2,500 Palestinians who were killed at those aid sites. Dignity does matter, Harry.
And as well as the immediate and medium-term aid requirements, there is the question of rebuilding and stabilization. All of that still left pretty vague despite the declarations of peace and victory that we saw in Jerusalem this week.
Absolutely. I take the American president at his word. He said the war is over. When we hear the war, we feel that just hides information. A lot of people recognize what's happening in Gaza is a genocide. I tell you, my own family, we've lost 9 out of the 10 homes my siblings and I own. And we only have one place that's partially still standing, which is in the town of Beit Lahia. And people tell me, hey, don't talk about it because the Israelis may bring it down. So there is fear. The Israeli literally camping out like 5 minutes by foot from where our family is. But, we're still hopeful. I really want to be hopeful because, hey, at least the mass killing has stopped. Not really stopped, slowed down. Just you mentioned earlier, they've targeted some folks in East Gaza. And I'm reading a report that some of the bodies have the marks of the tanks rolling over them. So the horrors continue. But we have to challenge ourselves to be hopeful because we've hit rock bottom in Gaza, unfortunately.
Okay, Hani Almadhoun, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.